In my last wind spinner video, I was experimenting with these slanted blades and cutting both slots in the same angle, and then cut them both at the same time so they're both top and bottom are identical. You have to really twist the blade to get it in, which makes a nice little spinner. It works very well, but I needed to make a little more pliable blade to do that. I had a really hard time getting it together. So what I'm doing here is I've got a little mock-up. I don't have the slots cut in the bottom. This is the same one I used before with a 20-degree angle. It's very, very severe angle. The one I finished that is spinning outside is a 10-degree angle. Now, I say the angle, that's the angle at which these slots are cut in relation to straight up and down. So I mocked this up. I cut me some new blades here and made them a little bit thinner, and I'm putting it through that top one at that 20-degree angle and see where I can make it. It's still going to have to be twisted a little bit, but you can see the difference in the angle there. And I'm going to mark each one of these and cut that and see how this works. It's in a little bit of a stress there just to get it to come back on that bottom part of the wind spinner. Another option would be to cut a larger circle for the bottom and just let it fall where it may. That may be another thing I experiment with. But right now I kind of wanted to same up and down. As you can see, I just got it held together with a dowel so I can keep them in relation to each other. That dowel won't be a finished part of the wind spinner. I'm just wanting to figure out the angles that I need to cut on each one of these. And it looks like something like that right there. So I'm going to mark these, take this over to the scroll saw and cut it, and try to put it together and see what we get. I made this little jig. Got from here to this mark is about 1/8. It's very, very close. I'm just trying to get, you line that up right there, and that gives you the angle and the depth of the blade. And each one you go around the circle. And only one of them's a little bit off because it's not perfect, but it's good enough for a test. So I'm going to take this and cut these slots in this piece right there so I can get these blades in it. Well, I definitely got a little more angle on this one. Not sure that's going to work. It's not as angled as I was really looking for, but it's very noticeable. Let me take it out and hang it, and we'll see if it'll even work. Well, it spins decently. It doesn't spin as well as the other one. I'm thinking probably a little different size. I got a little heavier wood in this one. I have 1/2 inch plywood in it. This is 3/4 inch. I was going to use a lighter wood in the final product, but I can't say this does any better than the one I made last time. It spins fine. It has kind of the look I want. Got that rakish look in the blades, but I can't say that I improved. In fact, it doesn't spin quite as well. So I'm going to go back to the drawing board, do some more thinking on this. And as you can see, that one is really spinning well. It doesn't take much wind to make it spin. I think it's a slightly smaller diameter, and that could be part of it. Blades are a little closer together. So I'm going to experiment with this a little more. I may cut a different size out of a different thickness and use these same blades to see if I can get a better performance. Well, I've cut me some new pieces. I'm going to reconfigure that one just a little bit. These are a little smaller, and they're more the size of the one I've got that's spinning really well. I measured this one metrically. This is 14 millimeter in diameter, 14 centimeter, 7 centimeter radius, which gives me a number around that I can divide nicely by 8 and get an easily measured space between. And I checked it with the lines that I draw. It works. Built me a little jig with the angle on it for that bottom one, and I could go around and get the angle the same as the one I just made. Anyway, I use the millimeters because I have something I can measure in millimeters, and it's smaller increments and easier to figure. And it's basically 5.5 inches across. It's a little smaller than that, but that's what the other one is out there that's spinning real well. Is 5.5 inches, about, maybe not exact. So I'm going to cut these. I got the two different angles set on them. This is the top, and this one's going to be the bottom. And cut these on the scroll saw. I got the blades off the other one here, and I'm going to put in here, and we'll see if it does any better than the one I just put together. I forgot to mention, this is a 1/2 inch thick instead of 3/4, smaller and lighter. Don't know how much difference that makes, but we'll see. It was spinning okay, not as good as the last one I made, but I'm trying to get the look and the performance that I want. It didn't quite get it. It was a good spinner, but still not what I was looking for. So I'm going to cut this one of these at a 20-degree angle, which matches the one I just had. And in the bottom, I'm going to cut it about a 5-degree angle. When I say the angle, ain't the bed tilted. This angle is the same as on the others. All the other, I think that's 30-degree angle. It's what I've been using on the top blades, top part. See, it looks horrible. Those blades are a little bit too stiff. I can't get them to bend and get the tops straight, but it spins very well. It spins better than the other one. It was spinning when there was almost no breeze, and it was sitting still. I believe I'm on the right track. I'm going to try a little bit different. That's 2 befores ripped, and a little bit, they're an 1/8 inch thick. If I can get them a little thinner, I'm thinking about trying some Baltic birch plywood, because you can warm it up in put it in some hot water and twist them into place and let them dry. But I cut these slots a lot tighter than I did on the other one, and that's the reason I'm having trouble getting it to line up. And I started just to dismantle it and start over, but I thought, well, I'll see if it'll spin. And it does. It spins better than the other one, actually. But I'm going to do a little more work on the blades. I think that's the next step here. These angles seem to work to make it spin really nicely. So I may have some balsa wood. If not, I'm going to try the Baltic birch plywood and warm it up and see if I can bend it into place. I'm also thinking about cutting a little longer blade, give me more room to put the twist in. So I got those 2 or 3 ideas I'm going to play with. I'm thinking that I've got the angles, because the blades really catch the wind when they're set up, and if I can get them all bent the same, I think it'll really be nice. This is just one set of angles I'm going to use. I got some others. Now let me go back to the drawing board on these blades, and I'll see what I can do to make it go together and be level. Okay, I brought that spinner in, and I'm doing a different method to construct it. I drilled this hole, so I got this dowel that's a tight fit for that hole, and I put those two ends in space, matching each other, and that holds them solid so they don't slip or give in any way. So I'm taking these blades and I'm sanding them. I'm sanding the saw marks off of them and a little bit beyond that, so I make them a little bit more flexible. And they're still a little loose down in the bottom, so some of them I'm sticking a toothpick in beside them. This is just a temporary thing for another test. But I'm trying to make them all curve in the same fashion. So I'm going to continue putting it together this way. It takes both hands. It's kind of hard to film. So, and I'm sanding as I go. I got half of them in, and we'll see how it works and how it looks when I get through with this. I got it together. The ends are pretty well parallel, and the blades are all bent in the same manner except for one. And that's because I messed up this cut up here on the end. You can see that one's straight on the down. It's angled a little bit, but it doesn't have the curve in it these others have, that stress that I got in them. But I'm gonna leave that dowel in the center for now, and I'm gonna thread me a hanger in the end of it and go out and see how it works. Almost no breeze, and you see it slowly spinning. In fact, it spins before the other one does. So I think that's a pretty good test. I'm pleased with the way it's working. Actually, the other one's spinning a little faster than it is now. But I'm learning some different techniques to get these things in place, and I'm going to experiment with some different blades. That might be it for this video because I'm getting late into the week and I'm not making much progress, doesn't seem like. But I'm thinking about a longer blade and maybe a little thinner so I can make it lighter, and I want a little more twist in that blade. And I'm learning that the angle up here really affects that bow and that twist in that blade, which seems to make them work a little better. So it's not a great spinner. It's spinning okay in very little wind. But it's not unsuccessful. I'm just not as happy with it as I want to be. So I'm going to continue experimenting, so stay tuned for the next video, and I'll see what I experiment with next.